Hello, and welcome in. My name is Eli. I am your oracle as we here at Mayday begin to embark on our new live stream series, Heroes of the Doom, an Inevitable Tale. Heroes of the Doom is coming from Soul Muppet Publishing, a Arthurian Western set to explore heroes who set out to face an inevitable and impossible event known as a doom. What that doom is hard to say. We will have to find that as our narrative progresses. These are solo sessions, an opportunity to meet members of our cadre, get to know them in earlier years when maybe prophecy was beginning and our future set in stone. This is an opportunity also for our players to have a moment to get to look at a very unique system in which we set up this narrative collectively as one unit, telling stories with the freedom of not having to worry about things like perception checks and skill checks. We work together to find something that is narratively satisfying. So you will also get an opportunity to work through those new horizons with members of Mayday here today. Our sessions here are also under the guidance of safety tools, as this, as always, is a mature show centric around tragedy, failure, and violence and other adult themes. So, as always, please be sure to take care of yourself and know that our team is under the safety and guidance of safety tools, and X card can be employed at any time. So with that, let us begin. Blessed is the mystic, for they know the weight of words. You are blessed by the power of the moons Ezra and Constance, and through that you can shape your reality. You have learned the many words, and you can invoke those words and channel them into powers unimaginable. And yet, despite that ability, you cannot stop what is coming for you. This city is filled from its lowest parts to its highest parts of beautiful people, and as the sun rises on a new day, that city just comes to life, filled with a routine that is intrinsically individual to each person. All people tell their stories, and their stories are played alongside us all. But as this day begins, as this day starts, we find ourselves in the presence of a mystic. Sergio, please introduce and describe your character and what they might be doing in these residual moments as stories begin to be told.
The early morning sun lights up a open area of the town square of Myth, and there is a gathering of individuals townsfolk, maybe soldiers, guards, individuals getting ready to either go to war or to support the current war that is happening. And in this group, there is a lone boy in the center of it. At least he appears young, like a boy. This kind of bright red hair that is soft and cut in a bowl-like style, youthful style. And they are dressed simply, wearing a very worn-down poncho, traveling poncho, thrown over their shoulders. And the group is somewhat taken by this boy and what he is saying. As he stands in the middle, he is addressing the crowd, and he is bringing up things about myth and about the world that we live in. And he says, it is our duty to reach out to our lords and to our king and to remind them that our rivers are drying up, our lands can no longer be farmed and tilled. We must find an answer to this. And it is not enough that they simply gaze into their crystal balls or stare into the stars at night. We must have an answer, and we must force them to find an answer. If they are the ones that hold the power, then we are the ones that must inform them that they must do something to save our world. And he seems almost frustrated. This kind of scowl on his face, probably unintentional, but nonetheless pressing the intensity of his words and how much he is imploring his fellow man to stand up to the powers that be and to do something about the situation of our world.
Your words ring out to a sea of washes of faces that look at you with every evocation that you speak. And it's almost as if it echoes through the air here. And though eyes are listening to you, you see nothing more than vacant stares. Those who may be compelled to take action, but don't. But as those words continue to just ring out, diffuse into nothing, it all comes together with a snap of a book. And you are amongst a campfire, and the air is cool, and you can hear the insects buzzing, and you are looked up at above a shower of stars, and looming over that, the moons of Ezra and Constance that illuminate this dust and barren land in which you are riding towards. You are a band of 4, a cadre of war, mages who are maybe too young to see battle, but times are hard, and some must rise to the occasion in order to preserve the things that we love most. And as you sit amongst this fire, that book closed by one of your members. You look amongst the group here. You will see Ambrose look up as Halifax kind of stretches and moves towards his horse to put that book away. You look around for Nuri, and as always, they are just hidden in shadows, keeping their distance. But Ambrose looks at you and just says, "Trouble in the mind?"
I've been poking at the fire with a stick, and I look up to address Ambrose, and I say, "Always trouble on the mind. We are not safe outside the walls of myth. And even then, I don't know if I consider myself very safe."
It's been a rough road last couple months, but we've been handling it just fine. The four of us. She looks around. But you gotta have faith. It's gonna be okay.
I kind of roll my eyes at that and stare deeper into their eyes and say, Ambrose, have faith in what? Ourselves maybe, but our king, our leaders, the mystics, no one knows what's happening. That is the first lesson you learn as a mystic. No one knows what's going on and how to fix any of this. When will this war end?
Well, I mean, I know the point is not to know and that all things are possible, but at the same time, that just opens us up to a bit more of faith. You've heard Malavan's gonna ride into battle. They're gonna face the cannibal saint. We're just a piece of that. And when we meet the Rockweaver tomorrow on daybreak and ride with him to battle, that's what we have to trust in. If we can't lean on our leaders, if you lose faith in that, don't lose faith in us. Don't lose faith in me. We'll do this together.
The intensity of Ashwyn softens, partly realizing that Ambrose perhaps does not quite understand what I'm getting at. And I look at them and I say, Ambrose, whatever happens tomorrow, you are known as the Gentle Wind, and I want you to stay safe. If things get out of hand, run back to your horse and head back to Myth so someone can tell the tale of what happened. It's important that you, the swiftest of us all, make it back at least.
Yeah, Ambrose, I mean, you're just not, I don't know, cut out for it. And then you'll see Halifax just kind of stretch and then plop back down at the fire. So yeah, probably best for you to ride when things get rough.
I just silently shoot daggers at Halifax.
And Halifax looks back at you, the Amber Lion, always proud, always willing to say what he means. And he just kind of sneers back at you.
I think I silently turn back to Ambrose and say, pride doesn't win wars. Strategy, patience, and intelligence does. Stay safe, Ambrose.
Ambrose gives you a nod, but there is this silent look in their eyes that while that is the strategic, the logical solution, again, we are uncertain of what will happen next. In the end, we have our duties and responsibilities as mystics of the Mystic Order, and that includes all of its consequences all the way to the bitter end.
The rest of the night, Ashwyn is silent unless spoken to. There's something kind of just inherently not very outgoing about him. But he spends time with Roach, his chestnut-colored horse, brushing them, making sure that they are calm and rested.
As you're tending to Roach, finally out of the shadows comes Anori. Anori is an unusual bird, a bird folk, one that takes the form of a raven. They stretch their wings that kind of fold across them. They kind of use it like a cloak or a tunic and move silently in the shadows. He is not one for words, but she'll stop for a moment, just enough to linger in silent communication. Just takes a deep and silent breath and just looks at you and in the question of if you are all right, if you are ready for what's next.
Feeling a kinship with those that don't always feel like they have to say something, Ashwyn sits down near the bird and breaks off pieces of their traveling bread and jerky and tosses it playfully, seeing if they're hungry themselves.
Yeah, they'll catch it, toss it up, and let it snap in their beak as they eat it, and they give a little nod. Anuri's known for these bird songs that they sing. It's the reason why they're called bird singer. And for the rest of the night, for as long as you would like to spend with them, they'll just sit there quietly, humming a small tune. Let the night be filled with song and not silence.
Eventually, Ashwyn turns to the others and says, "It's late. We should get our rest. Would anyone like to take watch first?"
Inori whistles and approaches the fire and sits down, starts to poke it, and gives you a nod that they'll be the one to take the watch.
Good night, Inori, Ambrose, Halifax. I'll see you all in the morning. And I roll out my cod and just kind of snuggle up, lowering my poncho to cover me more as a blanket than anything, and I'll try to go to sleep.
You're drifting off to sleep. You're just watching the small embers of fire, the occasional crackle and spark, especially when Inori pokes at it, and you just watch that faint glow until it eventually falls into darkness. The next thing is the sound of hooves on dirt as you guys are riding on a new day, riding as fast as you can. You must reach the Rockweaver as soon as possible. As those dispatches had been sent out far and wide. Not the only ones called, but you are the ones who have answered. And as that sun rises, as the heat can be felt on your backs, as you continue forward, you will eventually progress farther and farther into the waste.
Trying to stay cool, I throw my poncho open, roll up the sleeves, riding roach, and keep an eye constantly on the horizon, watching for the enemy, watching for other cadres, making sure that we stay safe.
Keep a watchful eye. You'll eventually see it in the distance. Another dust trail that trickles off. Riders in the distance, riders riding like you. And Inori gives a whistle, keener eyes than most of you, the ones who also keep watch. Gives a signal of friends, others who are riding like you through the distance, in the distance. No need to engage, no need to worry. They're just others who have come to aid in the call. But
all riding along with Roach, attached to their saddle is a torch, a lantern, and I lift it up, speak the ancient name of fire, and cast my hand up, and a kind of flare flies up above me and just gives a little burst, signaling to our allies that we are friendly and we're heading in an opposite direction.
Excellent. Send that into the sky, that burst of flame. It's only a few moments where something else is returned, a blue light that casts up into the sky. A friendly response as you guys continue to ride, but you guys will eventually move in opposite directions, but you are continuing. It will be about high noon when you finally arrive upon a ridge where you were told to go. And when
Stopping at the high ridge, looking around, not immediately seeing anything to draw our attentions, just out of curiosity, I call out to the others, "Who do you suppose those riders were? Where might they have been heading?"
Who knows? There's other missions to be had, said Halifax. I think there were word of bands moving west. Errants were on the way as well to engage, so perhaps others are needed as well.
I just nod silently and wait for the next sign of what to do.
You scan the horizon, looking for a sign. You will find that sign. There are tomes that you have read. The libraries of myth provide much in context for the weaving of power, the many words that can be invoked, but also the things that exist in this world. The portals that lead to castles beyond, things of the barren wastes, what makes a living saint one of the divine. But they also tell you about powerful magic, things that living things that are created and what you see out in the distance is something of legend. They say that the cities of these places, even before those who have succumbed to doom in the histories, they say they could walk. They say that they could move. And what you see in the distance is what looks like a great shrine devoted to gods. On it, a tapestry that you can see, but not quite the symbol given the distance, but something gargantuan, something of legend, something that shifts and rumbles the earth, and you can feel it even here in the ridge, something that is made by power that you could only dream to possess, and it moves and shambles across this. And in the distance as well, on the opposite side, you will see the dust trails of many riders. That has to be the Rockweaver. That has to be those who have answered the call, riding in the distance, waiting for this collision of meeting legend and those who will become legend.
I perch up on Roach, seeing this incredible sight, point out to the distance. There, it's happening there already. We should gain on their flanks, right around, give the Rockweaver an advantage. They won't be expecting us. Turn to the others.
Halifax is already grinning. It's always when you suggest those really outlandish plans that he gets hyped behind it. He always wants to make things as epic as possible. He always dreams that his songs will be the ones that are sung in great halls for all time. And if you guys could be the four that gives flank to the Rockweaver, that'll be one hell of a tale to tell. Let's ride.
Halifax just immediately takes flight, and I scream after him, "Halifax, keep up with us!" And I'll try to kick Roach and try to keep up with him, make sure the others don't stay too far behind.
Excellent. Halifax is in the lead, followed by you and Anuri and Ambrose in the trail. You guys are making a roundabout flank to meet the Rockweaver and the rest of the mages against this lumbering shrine.
As we ride, I pull out an old bit of scroll, just kind of a single piece of paper that is wrapped. I hold it and I whisper to it the true name of the concept of truth. And I seek the truth of what is this enemy's greatest power? What do they hold that could undo us if we're not careful?
You would know that this slumbering shrine is a holy site and is compelled by a miracle in order to enact wrath upon enemies. This thing is not so easily defeated. Power is immense. The only thing that could really do it is if it is met by an equal force that can eventually break and deteriorate it. Because after all, while it is a construct, it is infrastructure, it is made of stone, things that have been made, and all things that are made can be undone if you apply the right leverage for it.
Feeling the heat of the moment as we race closer to this, I yell out to my cadre, "The shrine! Steer clear of it, but it's also their most powerful weapon. We have to find a way to take it down."
They all nod at you as you guys continue to ride. I feel like we're at a point where we're reaching our first challenge here. You're looking for maybe answers or a way to find an advantage here, or begin to provide this aid and support. So let's build a pool here. Do you have anything of your reputations that might aid you in finding a way to get to this lumbering shrine?
I think Ashwyn, thinking beyond just rushing into combat, thinking about the strategy of what is the most dangerous thing on the battlefield and how his small cadre could take advantage of their weaknesses. I think his creative spirit is being used here in this moment.
Love that. Is there any equipment you would like to add to that that you have?
Though it looks plain and weathered, his poncho has a weight to it that is not understood until it is felt and worn by someone else. There is a technique to its weave that gives it a bit of an armor effect to him. He is somewhat protected by even something like a sword strike or a weak projectile. So he's somewhat protected, even though he looks completely open and exposed.
Okay, I'll take your armor here as an added. Nothing for me to retract, so roll me 2d6.
2 1s.
2 1s. Failure here. What does failure look like here? You are confronting a thing of legend, a thing that, while providing context of its existence, does not through your many moments of researching through the tomes and stuff like that, yield any thought of how to confront this. And as you continue to barrel, as things like for a moment maybe tapers into this kind of almost slow view as you look at every one of your members of your cadre who are equally riding beside you, as you guys are getting to the last moments where you're going to fall upon this creature that just you can feel with each step it takes, the thuds that shake and rattle the earth, and nothing comes to mind on how you can possibly resolve this. But if you do not stop or move from this from where you're going, you are going to collide with something that you do not understand. And as you forcefully have to eventually pull the reins of Roach to move both you and the rest of the cadre, you guys realize that you have gotten so close that with this lumbering shrine taking this step, you're essentially riding underneath the lumbering shrine, and then the footsteps, and you guys, it almost like ripples the earth around you, and the horses kind of buck and jump and leap in franticness as you guys have to kind of almost at this point part ways as you and Halifax move one direction, Anuri and Ambrose the other section, as you guys have to duck and weave and get out of this way to avoid any potential harm here. But you will cross, at least you and Halifax will cross over on the other side. You are separated from the rest of your group, your rest of your cadre, the support you need to do that. And it's just you and Pride. What are we doing? As you guys are kind of turning around, the shrine is behind you now, and you guys can see the dust of the Rockweaver and the rest of the riders on the approach. They will be here in mere moments, but you guys are making this wide berth to try to figure out what to do to next. And Halifax just looks at you. Well, that was a fucking useless plan.
I rear up on Roach and turn around to face the battle scene, seeing that our initial approach did nothing. I turn to Halifax and I say, stay focused. I need time. If I can call upon the waters of the land, the water underneath the land, perhaps I can make it muddy enough that this thing won't be able to keep moving. Halifax, I need time. Distracted. Do something brave to keep it distracted long enough for me to do what I need to do. And I actually get off Halifax and begin pulling out this old tome that I have and begin rushing through it to find some answer.
You'll see Halifax, you're like frantically trying to grab all the components, all the materials, all the things you need, and Halifax is just shaking his head, and he's just gonna look at you and say, when are you gonna realize you can't always prepare in these kinds of situations? And then he just looks at you, and then he'll ride off towards the lumbering shrine, looking to give you that time you asked for.
I just watch him run, and I say to myself, gods, I pray that your ambition keeps you alive. And I just go back to my things. I place one hand on the ground, sticking it into the dirt, and I start looking through the tome and thinking about the true word of water, and concentrating, trying to see if I can soften the ground, muddy the ground enough around this titan, this walking shrine, to slow it down, to get it stuck in the mud so that it can't keep stepping.
Another challenge for us here. This is a lot of magic that must be channeled to slow a mountain and its pace. A lot of water must be drawn from the earth in order to do that. So I will take your power word here for the spell that you're going to cast. Is there anything else you want to invoke here?
I think my passion to solve the problem feels appropriate here. My equipment, my tome, and the alchemical reagents that I use to bolster my spell, I think, are appropriate.
Well, I think that would earn you a 3, given the nature of this being. I'm going to knock one die off that, so make that 2d6 to roll here.
Here we go. Best is a 5.
This is a 5. A 5 will be a success here for you, and no consequences attached to it. So tell me, how does this look when you invocate water in a barren place where rain is scarce and the land is dry? How do you bring water to a place where there is none?
Learning is not just the secrets of magic, but the secrets of the earth and the way the world works. And I understand that although the world looks barren here, deep underground, there is usually a table of water. And I call upon that table with the words of water to rise, to soften the land, and to create mud where there was once just dirt. And these enormous the enormous feet of this shrine begin to dig into the ground with every step, and each one slowing it down as the suction begins to keep it from taking further steps.
Excellent. You pull water from the earth, reaching deep, knowing that there is life and saturation if you work hard enough to find it. And when you bring that water up, as it pools over here, as the lumbering shrine in all its weight slows by the muck and the murk, you will see the riding in of the Rockweaver and the band of mystics who have come. You will see the sailing of spells, both fire and ice, lightning, all manners of elements just scatter like little fireworks until they strike across this shrine. Earth being struck off and falling down from place to place as the battle is begun, as riders begin to move around and flank and cast as many spells as they can, hoping to wear and break down this lumbering shrine. Yes.
Looking up, I see the battle starting, and my permanent scowl fades, and a big grin spreads across my face as I realize not only are things turning in our favor, but I am being useful. I'm doing something useful, and I think that's what brings Ashwyn the most pleasure in this moment.
You find hope here, and you find purpose. And it's been a long road to achieve such a feeling. And with the reassurance of those who too pull from the weave, and you being amongst them. And as that smile just lingers for a moment as you take a deep breath here, war is not that simple. War is not that easy. And war is bitter, and it is brutal. And as much as we want to have that hope, and as much as we want to have purpose, you watch this lumbering shrine reach its mighty hand down, and you watch him just sweep across the earth here. You hear the ground just be ripped apart as you hear the sounds of those being struck upon this dust that scatters up into the sky. And you do not see anyone in that midst and in that dust. And then you remember, you look from side to side to you. You're alone here in this moment of relishing, in this moment of hope. You sent Halifax out to face the lumbering shrine. You have not found Anuri or Ambrose.
I stand at the sight of things turning for the worse, not being able to see the details of who was struck, but I clamber up to my feet and I start to climb onto Roach. Roach reacts almost instinctively, knowing that what I want to do is dangerous, but I take the time to calm them down. They're a sensitive steed. And I said, we have to do this. We have to check on our friends. Eventually, he allows me to leap onto his back, and I begin racing in the direction of whoever was struck by that. I want to check on them and make sure they're okay.
It was many who were struck by this. Again, this creature is a mountain, so when it sweeps its hand across the land, it strikes many here who have confronted it. And when you ride back through to try to find those, you eventually get hit with the dust and the debris. You are mixed in, and your sight is difficult to see as you can hear the sounds of horses braying, the agony of voices calling out in the distance, and so much chaos. And in the back behind you, again, the lumbering steps of this creature. You've heard rumors about this from people in myth, that this creature had destroyed cities without any walk, and it seems that even with the smudge slowing it down, it is not going to cease its pursuit of the city of myth. But you are in this chaos. There's nothing you can really do about it. But as you're in that fray, what are you doing?
I lift my poncho over my face to try to protect myself from the smoke, and I'm yelling out, "Anuri! Ambrose! Halifax, where are you?" And I'm just trying to ride kind of on the perimeter, if possible, of this beast, this walking shrine, looking for them, making sure that they're okay.
Excellent. You're in this fray. You are searching for the things that matter most. You remember the campfire just moments ago, in which you was reminded that these three with you are the things that shape and change the world. And as you're still maneuvering through this fray, and as the dust settles and now your vision is clear, where you can see all of the carnage left behind from this battle that continues to rage on, despite that, I think we're going to move into our showdown. Our showdown, as mentioned to you, you will not be able to save the Rockweaver from his fate of what happened here today at this battle of the Lumbering Shrine. But you do have an opportunity to do one small thing here, one thing that might be the most important thing you do: save your cadre. All right. So with that, let me pull up what we're gonna do, the showdown. All right, I have a threat for you, a threat number. That is and then we have showdown tokens, which for you will only be one showdown token that will minus here. You're going to roll a d6, and I am going to give you some bonuses from the cost that we are going to set up right now. Your cadre is everything to those who are heroes of myth. They are the people who walk beside you, and the people who will be remembered in song when they tell your stories. So I think the cost ultimately is that if you cannot succeed here in finding your friends, that you may have lost them in this battle at the end of the day.
Yeah, that makes sense. I kind of feel like the worst cost would be that Ambrose dies and Halifax lives, but I think it's fair to say even worse would be that they all die. Sure.
Okay. We can define what the final look of that might be, but ultimately, lives will be lost, in the lives that you care about. I'm going to give you a +2 to this roll to your cost. So you're going to roll a d6, and then you are going to add 2 to that. And let's see if you can beat this threat, or where we sit on the threshold of consequence.
Let's see. Running through the dust, I lift the lantern, speak the word of fire, and it becomes almost like sunlight pushing through the dust, trying to aid in my ability to see around me. Total of 5.
Total of 5. The ultimate threat target was 8. You are in between the target and the threat, which means you will suffer a cost, but you will succeed in your endeavor.
I think that, sure enough, I'm riding through the dust and I see my allies. First, Anuri flying through the dust. I call to them. They land and perch on my shoulder safe. And I keep riding. I see 2 riders that look familiar, Ambrose, Halifax. I make a decision quickly. I race over to one, grab them and throw them onto my steed just as a gigantic foot comes down. And I think we all 3 of us tumble off of Roach, safe but nonetheless affected by this huge concussion of wind and dust and dirt and mud. And when the dust settles and I look, it's Halifax and it's Anuri, but Ambrose did not make it. And I think I grab Halifax by his collar and I say, Ambrose, where's Ambrose?
I think there's a moment in which he looks at you as you're shaking him. War is happening behind you. It is continuing. You are watching spells being casted. You are watching the buying of time as the Rockweaver eventually will rise to the occasion to evoke a power so all-consuming. It will consume him and it will destroy the lumbering shrine. And as that all happens behind you, the only thing you care about in this moment is holding on to Halifax. You're looking him in the eye. You're asking him for Ambrose. And there's a moment even when you're shaking him and he's looking you dead in the eye with that look that you don't want to see, because that look says everything of what you know. That answer is right there. And there's a moment as you look at him where you just click back to the campfire, where you see Ambrose just look up with you, that same very contented, gentle smile on their face, looking at you in that moment. And in that thought, you move back to Halifax. The world continues to happen around you, and eventually the dust will settle on this moment.
Ashwyn lets go of Halifax, turns, watches this incredible battle unfold, but clenches his fist, the scowl returning to his face, a tear running down his eyes, knowing that Ambrose didn't make it. And his anger and his frustration causes the mud to bubble and boil, and there is an explosion, a gout, almost like a geyser that emerges from the ground as he screams out in pain, knowing that the one person he didn't want to pass, the one person he was hoping to protect, didn't make it. And he falls to his knees.
War is brutal and unkind. And at the end of the day, as much as we hope that we will beckon in a better future for ourselves, at what cost? And no matter how much sorrow and rage you feel at this moment, nothing is going to bring her back. Long beyond this battle of the lumbering shrine, and eventually the battle of the Violet Fields, in which a king rose his sword against a cannibal saint and rode off with errant knights, and those who too seek to protect the city of myth. Inevitably, woe befalls us. You will hear word at the Mystic Order that Malavan died in the Battle of the Violet Fields. And where we pick back up here is where the rain begins to fall upon the city. Outside the main city walls of the castle, you will see a procession of a coffin, and you will watch many people gather from all the way down from the Blue District, all the way to the entrances of the castle. As this procession rides in the rain, as many gather like moths to an empty flame. You are here in the monks of the place in which this funeral is held. You will hear the words of godsmen speak in comfort, in sorrow, for a king who has died. You will see the queen and the now King Rubain, who clings to her hip here, holding their heads as high as one can when love and father is lost. And you sit amongst the crowds here, amongst the mystics who were granted invitation to be here. And as the words of the godsmen continue, as you can hear the sniffling and the tears and the uncertainty of what will happen next. This moment is interrupted because I have arrived. And it is the sound that you can hear behind you, the sound of conflict in the halls on the outside that draw maybe your attention, like many in the audience's attention who stand here as the godsman still talks and speaks those words of comfort, and eventually the doors will open and the world will fall silent.
Turn my head to see who it is that's coming through the doors.
I am preceded by the men of carcass, men of iron, men of rust, men of salt, and they hold their blades in their hands as they walk, but the world is silent and you hear nothing but the talons of my feet that walk with each step. I am a foreboding bird. I have feathers on my body. My eyes see things well and beyond, and it is hard to see things over and over again, to tell this story over and over again. But one must hear what I have to say. The eyes of everyone here are in shock and in concern. You will see inevitably the gathering of errant knights who seek to stand in my way. And as I stand there with looking upon them, I will utter to them, errant knights of the order, have you no honor? Do you stand to defy my right to prophecy?
I hear the echoing words in the hall, and knowing that this is something that happens rarely, a prophecy being called, I begin to push others out of the way, and I try to get closer, to almost as if to be involved more in the moment.
As you try to be more involved in the moment, you have to push through so many people in order to reach me. But you will eventually, as you hear the exchanging of words from the queen, as the errants lower their swords and give me space, you finally push enough through the crowd where you're against the aisle here, where you can be ever as close as possible to hear what I have to say.
I saw the sky when it turned to bone. I saw the king who died alone. I saw the blooms where no roots grow. I know the name no one knows. Crowns of ash, thrones of grief. A boy shall rise in halls of speech. Last of the line, last of the line. The thread is drawn, the hand is mine. 6 will stir, 6 will stray. 1 will feed, 1 will flay. 1 will burn, and 1 will break. 1 will fly, 1 will wake. Doom walks slow and doom walks wide. None know which, but all must ride. In 3 years' turn, the first shall fall. The clock begins, the bells won't call. The nights shall stay, the nights shall die. The rest shall flee, the rest shall cry. As long as I burn, the path is drawn. Silence waits where prophets are gone. What blooms in quiet still may end, but only when no voices bend.
Ashwyn, prophecy has been spoken. A call of doom has been invoked, and you, of all people, a mystic, know that prophecy is absolute, and when the words are spoken, the words will be so.
I understand the potent, the portent of what you are speaking, and I know that it is time to stop worrying about war, to begin obsessing about saving myth, the world, and what is left. I don't dally with conjecture or theory. I go right to the library. I go right to my scholars, the mystics who I trust, to the tomes that have always led me in the right direction. And I begin the task that it seems no one is willing to do. I pour myself into my work to prevent this doom.
Let's see if that pays off. And with that, we will end our story here today.